we are saying that even if the evacuation from the port is 0, so the first scenario was up to 3rd May, because the lockdown right now is up to 3rd May. But after that, if we are saying if it goes on for even 1 more month and evacuation is 0, then also this space is more than enough. And in fact, we probably have even more. So what we have been doing is that all the stakeholders, I mean, we all know and understand that in a container port, I think the number of stakeholders definitely is more, and all the stakeholders have different kinds of issues. So from let's say after 2 or 3 days of little bit of confusion,
Sir, give us some guidelines on issues faced by the transporter.
so let's say the transporters, the main issue was that about 50% drivers were not available. Some of them who were from other states or other parts of the state went back, and some of them who were around the villages were actually physically stopped even from the by the other villagers or the gram panchayats to come and join work. Now, right now, what we are doing is overall attendance of drivers is still about 50 to 60%. However, the main operations, as we are saying, we are in any case doing 30% less capacity. Considering all the terminals also, we are managing this show with a reduced strength of drivers. In this, what we tried to also do is that we actually sent our buses to some of these districts, let's say Sholapur. So there are lots of drivers from parts of Sholapur district like Pandharpur and Sangola, where roughly about 200 drivers were coming back to the port. And this is, I think, last Sunday when we had the first COVID positive. That was our CISF Jawan's wife had tested positive, which by the way was contracted at the hospital, because all the others were tested negative later. But because of that news, those drivers actually did not come, or we got a very few of them back. But what I'm trying to say is that even within that, within the limited availability of drivers, we have managed that part. The transporters had all those other issues of e-passes, police getting into some issues. All those were sorted out. We had at least 2 or 3 meetings with them, with the rest of the stakeholders. So that part was taken care of. The other...
So CFS are also facing some issues during the lockdown.
One of the other stakeholders were the CHAs. The CHAs had this issue about their offices not being open. Some of them again having problems about transport, about passes.
So there are several issues related to CFSs.
And CFSs in the beginning, the container freight stations could not operate because the Gram Panchayat said this is our area, in our area nothing will operate. The empty yard operator similarly had similar kind of issues. So with the help of the revenue and the police administration, with the right kind of orders from central government and the state government, we were able to put all of them together. When we say every day something new does come up even now, but the fact is that let's say most issues have got sorted to the extent that when we say we are running 70% of our regular trade, it basically means that all the stakeholders have been able to operate and perform to a major extent.
Sir, there are several some rumors related to port congestion.
For some reason, it was declared by some stakeholders that the port has got very congested, and so the port cannot take in more. But that's not correct. That's not correct, because we anticipated these issues of congestion. So 3 or 4 alternatives were dealt with. Number one, this extended gate facility at 2 ICDs, that is Mulund and Boisar, where the Chief Commissioner Customs here, in fact the customs machinery here, they were very prompt in issuing this, whereby this has really helped us a lot, where these ICD at Mulund especially has taken in a lot of our traffic. Apart from that, there were these CFSs which belong to the Central Warehousing Corporation, even though that has not added to the existing capacity, but practically those CFSs were not used for the last 4 or 5 years. So there what we have done is we have got this facility for an en masse movement. So that again has come to our use. But apart from that, out of the 4 terminals, PSA, because of its new capacities and future plans, they have a lot of space. Similarly, the JNPCT and NSICT also did not have much of a problem. It was GTI which was supposed to have an issue about congestion, where we have offered about 12 we've offered about 12 hectares of land which was available with us in the shallow water berth, near the shallow water berth, where apart from that, what we are saying is we are ready with our parking plaza, some more land, and in a situation which is like a plan C, D, E, we even have our SEZ space. But definitely before that, there is plenty of space where when we did this scenario analysis, where we are saying that even if the evacuation from the port is zero, so the first scenario was up to 3rd May, because the lockdown right now is up to 3rd May. But after that, if we are saying if it goes on for even 1 more month and evacuation is zero, then also this space is more than enough. And in fact, we probably have even more. So that is one thing I want to use this platform to tell all the stakeholders, that the port definitely can absorb, in case of a contingency, much more throughput. So that should not be an area of concern. Now,
Sir, what's your view on the government directives on waiver of the ground rent?
the government of India has announced a lot of waivers and benefits, about which there is a lot of discussion and, let's say, some confusion on the legality, on the practical part, where I think last few days the first part, of course, was whether the terminals are also further giving the benefits. Now it is about the CFSs, whether if the ground rent we are waiving, whether they are charging ground rent. I can right now only say, I mean, we can have a further discussion on these points, but at this point I can only say that as far as the terminals are concerned, obviously some concession agreement issues, how it can be dealt with separately on a legal basis, that will have to be done independently, but all of them are more than ready to give all the benefits that the government is saying. As far as the CFSs are concerned, the government is also contemplating now of using some of the acts or legal yeah, the legal framework, so as to ensure that they also have to pass on the benefits once the government decides. So we could discuss that then. And now,
Sir, any action on CFS who are not providing the waiver of the ground rent?
one is what I thought I tried to include it in my remarks about this CFS is not giving the benefits that are being or the waivers that the government has already announced. So as I said, that they have raised some legal points which were discussed at the government level also today. So what they are deciding is whether some other legal framework or some other law has to be now used to do this. So the government probably is very clear that all the stakeholders concerned must provide all the benefits that the government has decided.